All right. Hello. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are logged on and watching this from. So glad that you're here today. Welcome, welcome. My name is Madaly Love, and my pronouns are they, them, and ella. And we're here for today's Sober Curious Info session, facilitated by myself, hosted by the Banyan Tree Women's Collective, and in collaboration with the city of Menlo Park here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I see some folks are dropping in the chat where they're saying their hello and where they're logging in from. If you want to do the same, you're welcome to share your name and where you're logging in from. You're welcome to share pronouns too, if that's something you want to share with us today. Today is an info session, so I'm gonna share information with you about our Sober Curious group series happening this month of September. And at the end, I will have lots of space and time for thoughts and questions and curiosities. And before we get started today, I do want to share a poll with you all. This is a way, since we are a nonprofit, the Banyan Tree Women Collective is a nonprofit here out of the Bay Area, 501(c)(3). We have a poll that will be very helpful for our work to be able to continue funding this work. So I'm going to start that poll, and you're welcome to participate in it if you choose. And we'll be here for about 2 minutes. And then we'll close the poll, and we won't be sharing the results or anything. This is anonymous. I see some people in the polls. Great. Thank you, thank you. While we're completing that, I do want to share that Banyan Tree is a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization based out of the SF Bay Area Peninsula. And we believe that health and wellness, access, and choice is a human right and should not be determined by your financial status or zip code. We'll be here for about 30 more seconds with this poll. Let me know if you don't see it on your screen. Thank you for those that are completing it. Okay. All right. Gonna end the poll. Fantastic. And thanks for your patience with me as I rearrange my screen. Okay. Sober Curious info session, here we go. I do want to begin us with a brief and short grounding and ancestral acknowledgement. This is a big part of the way that I like to do this kind of work. And so you're welcome to join us for these next couple of minutes to do that. And what that might look like is practicing stillness. And what that might look like for you is maybe practicing some stretch or some movement. So wherever you're at, however you are in this moment, I trust you to make the right choice for your body. And if that looks like placing your feet on the floor or finding a comfortable position in your seat, maybe bringing the eyes to a close if that feels comfortable and is available. Just bringing a gentle and kind, loving awareness to your breath. No need to change it or control it. Just allowing the breath to be how it wants to be. And maybe it's the first time we notice our breath all day, and that's okay. And just noticing the way it feels as it moves through our nostrils and mouth, the temperature, the texture of it, the speed or the depth of it. Just thanking this breath that gives us life in every moment. As we take a nice big deep breath in together and out. We'll do 2 more of those, breathing in and exhaling. Last one, biggest breath all day, inhaling nice and deep. And exhaling nice and slow. And as we still continue to be in this practice of grounding, doing just a quick check, a quick tapping in of how is my heart today? How is my mind today? How is my body today? And how is my connection to something greater than myself? Some might call that universe, spirit, something else, whatever is true for you. How is my connection to that today? I'm just taking a moment of pause here for a few breaths to tap into those different spaces, the heart, the mind, the body connection. And again, with that gentle and kind, loving awareness, just being with what is here. No need to change it. And we'll take another nice big deep breath in and out. And as we continue to practice our intentional breathing, I just want to offer thanks to everyone here on this call. Thanks to everyone who's watching the recording of this call. Thanks to Banyan Tree Women's Collective. Thank you to the City of Menlo Park. Thank you to all of the curiosity and care in this space. And just thanking the places that we come from, the land that we come from, the land that we call home. And just thanking each heart that is here and that will continue to be here as we cultivate this month of recovery and recovery awareness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And with that, if you had your eyes closed, we can bring our eyes to a gentle opening. And before we come back to the screen, maybe finding something in our room or space that sparks joy or curiosity. Maybe it could be a color or a texture or an object, and just finding that thing now and taking a moment to appreciate that glimmer of joy or curiosity that it's sparking within you and coming back to our space. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you for being in this practice with me and with us. So our logistics and agenda for today's Sober Curious info session. We just completed our welcome and grounding. We're doing our agenda now. We'll be learning more about the Banyan Tree Women's Collective. You'll get to learn more about me. We'll get to practice an understanding of addiction through different perspectives and overviews. We'll learn why it matters for women and femmes. We'll explore some supportive alternatives to substance use and what to expect from our Sober Curious groups. If we have time today, I'll get to share a little bit more about my journey with recovery, and then we'll have a closing and get to say goodnight for the evening and goodbye for the day. So this is where we are headed and where we're going today. And I just want to share that, again, we're here and hosted by the Banyan Tree Women's Collective. We have some images here from different things that we've offered in the past, different kinds of wellness and care. And yeah, in my time in working with this organization, just really appreciating these pillars of collective healing and radical compassion, wellness access, and just empowered growth. So yeah, thank you once more. And as far as our Sober Curious group goes, I have a little bit here of our who, our what, and our why. Who is this group for? This is anyone exploring their relationship with alcohol, substances, or habits and patterns. Those who are sober curious, or simply seeking clarity with these relationships. And people looking for a trauma-informed and community-rooted space. Yeah. And what is this group? It is a compassionate and courageously curious space of support to explore your relationship with alcohol, substances, and habits from a position of care and without judgment. And why? Why are we doing this? Why are we here? Because recovery can look different for everyone. And to also learn medical and emotional insights on addiction or substance dependency, and to see if this kind of community-centered support feels right for you, or maybe someone in your life. So a little bit here on the who, the what, and the why. And let's learn more about your facilitator, me, Madaly. I am a certified recovery coach. I'm also an educator in many different realms of work, from youth work, with working with adults with disabilities, grief work, and more. I'm also a student of curanderismo. I consider myself a curanderex. I'm a cacao guide and ceremonial facilitator, and much, much more. I'm a person with lived experience on the recovery path since 2017. I'm someone who holds space through a trauma-informed and community-centered lens and rooted in ancestral wisdom. And also, I just, yeah, deeply honor the complexity and compassion and your right to define your own path, whether that be a path of health, healing, transformation, alchemy, recovery, whatever we want to call it. I'm a big advocate of people getting to define their experience and their journey. And that's a little bit about me. So, understanding addiction. And I'll just pause here to say that so many different words can be used in different contexts. And like I said, I really invite people that I get to work with in community to define their own experience. And so, addiction is one word that you might hear today. Another word we could have placed there is substance dependency, substance use. And so, really, whatever word applies to you and feels good for you, I invite you to place that there. Um, so yeah, we can use as many different words as we want and apply whichever ones feel good for us as we continue the rest of this info session. So what is addiction, or what is substance dependency or substance use? And we know that it can be complex, right? It can be a complex chronic medical condition, and we know that's not a moral failing, although a lot of people that I've gotten to work with and I just in the recovery community in the beginning of their journey and throughout, there's this idea and feeling that I've somehow have failed. There's a lot of shame and guilt that comes along with that, and we know that it's not a moral failing. This is something that affects the brain's reward system and memory system, as well as motivational systems. This could be patterns of use, often beginning as an attempt to self-regulate, self-soothe, especially around pain or traumas, or just emotional dysregulation, activated nervous systems. And this addiction or substance dependency can thrive, it thrives in isolation, and it can begin to shift connection with people within themselves and with people in their community and people in their families and friendships and their passions, or there can be a loss of connection sometimes there. Um, and yeah, I definitely resonate a lot with what is on this slide. And I put here this image of a brain because there's so much of the brain chemistry that's going on that can involve things like trauma and coping, but also giving space to the neuroplasticity of our brains and the ability for new neural pathways to be created as new patterns and new habits of resourcing can come up instead of the coping, right? And that's why I put compassion here, because this is such an important part of the work that we get to do here together. So I wanted to offer one perspective. And this other perspective I also want to offer around addiction and substance dependency is around a holistic or even spiritual overview. And just want to acknowledge that everyone on this call and watching this recording might have different beliefs around spirituality, and however you show up is totally welcome here today. And this is just one way of many ways. So what can addiction or substance dependency look like from this perspective, right? Addiction is a call, it can be a call for connection. It can be an attempt to soothe spiritual or emotional or even ancestral pain from ancestral cycles. It often emerges from a disconnection from the self, from purpose, from lineage, from community, from resources, and so much more. Substances or habits may serve as temporary sources of relief or ritual or control when we lack safety and safe containers for our pain. And healing can happen when we are witnessed with our compassion and held in spaces that honor our wholeness and not just our wounding. And recovery is not about fixing what's broken, it's about remembering who we truly are. So yeah, offering some other perspectives around this, around sacred remembering, inner wisdom that we all have, and the ability to transform or alchemize parts of ourselves, the call for connection and ancestral healing as well. and why it matters. Why does this matter for people, for women, for femmes? Um, and some of the things that I want to highlight here are around mental health, trauma, systemic stressors, and hormones, right? People who have uteruses can experience hormonal fluctuations throughout the month and have this can impact how substances are metabolized in our body, in our liver, and so on and so forth. There are higher rates of anxiety and depression and trauma that can lead to substance use as coping. There can also be social stigmas that often prevent women and femmes from seeking support or help. And recovery spaces, these people might want to look for recovery spaces that center compassion and identity and context that are essential. Um, so yeah, as a person who identifies as a non-binary person, also femme, um, that last part was really important in my path to recovery as well, and finding aligned spaces that felt safe and comfortable for me to open up and be so vulnerable and brave in changing habits and patterns. Um, and some ways that I want to offer some supportive alternatives to substance use is this question here: what else can meet our needs? I don't believe that have these habits or patterns or substances are like good or bad. And I don't believe that people who use these things are good or bad. I just think there's people who are trying to meet their needs and to cope or resource themselves. So how can we meet some of these needs? Um, and this is a short list of what could be many things. Some things I want to offer are reflecting on small and big questions and journaling those questions about ourselves and our lives. Mindfulness and meditation. We did a little bit of that at the beginning of our call today. Breath work and grounding. I'm going to let someone into the room. Breath work and grounding, rituals and practices that are aligned with your culture and your beliefs and your values system. Movement and dance can also be a really powerful practice to get the body moving. Time in nature or time in spaces and environments that help us feel calm and grounded and in awe of the beauty around us can be really affirming, as well as creative and fun outlets, whatever that means for us. It could be crafts, it could be dance, it could be painting, it could be cooking that favorite recipe that you have, and so on and so forth. Gardening, these are all crafts, right, that we can pour our care and our love into, and sometimes even pass down to us intergenerationally. Some other ways to meet our needs can be around connection with trusted people in our lives, people that we feel safe with, people that we can trust, people that we feel comfortable with. If there are people in our lives that we don't feel those things with, we might create some boundaries around how vulnerable, how open we are with those people, with the life choices that we're making until we feel like we're in a grounded and self-knowing place to then share with whomever else needs to know. Hydration and nourishment are really great choices, along with some other choices around therapy or counseling or coaching, acknowledging that these forms of like talk support don't work for everyone and they can be supportive for some people. And yeah, the therapy, the counseling, the coaching, these are people doing similar work, but with different skill sets and with different frameworks. So you might get to find someone who feels aligned and works for you. And also, I want to highlight community recovery spaces, right? So this info session is preparing us for 3 online Sober Curious groups that we're going to have this month. And those spaces are going to be places where we get to drop into being in recovery community. If you have any questions about how to find these spaces in person where you are living, I'm happy to answer more about that when we get to our Q&A section. So what to expect from the Sober Curious groups? These will be 75-minute groups, an hour and 15 minutes. The dates are September 15th, 22nd, and 29th, the next 3 Mondays of September from 7 to 8:15 p.m. Pacific time. And what might happen in these groups, we'll have gentle guided reflections and journaling prompts. Will be opportunities for sharing, which is always a choice, always optional. We'll have some practices like grounding, tapping, and breath work and more. This is a space where there's no pressure to fit any mold of recovery, no need to quit or be sober. This is just a space to explore your relationships with these things with curiosity and care and compassion. And you're welcome to attend one of the sessions or all three of the sessions. And I'll share some of the links for those in a bit. And how can people prepare? Please try to arrive on time. If you want to bring a journal for reflecting or drawing or doodling, some tea in your full self, whatever that means each day. And ideally, you're in a private space, free of distractions, and also allowing privacy of our container, and the shares that might happen there. And these sessions will not be recorded. Today, we're recording this because we're going to get to share this info session recording with folks so they can learn more about the spaces, but those next sessions will not be recorded. They will be private spaces, so that we can foster a container of safety and care and privacy, and anonymity. All right. And yeah, I think my journey and my story is a beautiful one and a long-winded one. So I am gonna share some snips and pieces that feel relevant for today's info session. And what feels relevant to share today is that even prior to using substances or drinking or coping in those ways, self-soothing in those ways, I was someone who experienced anxiety since I was a kid, depression, was raised by a single mother, didn't really know my father for most of my life, or he wasn't really present. And just, yeah, life happened. And it wasn't until like my mid-teenage years that I opened myself up to trying out things like alcohol or cannabis. And maybe, yes, it was from a rebellious place. And also, those things at the time, I didn't have the words for this at the time, but it did soothe. It did bring some soothing to the pain that I was experiencing emotionally and physically and mentally. And that trajectory went through high school and into college and after college. And my mental health got worse. And the thing about me is like, I was pretty functional through all of this, like got straight A's in school, went to a really good college, got a job after college. So on the surface, things seemed fine, but like internally, I was in so much pain, emotionally and mentally, and I would even say spiritually, and was reaching for these other substances or alcohol or habits to soothe all of that. Um, and yeah, at 23, I had to make a choice, a really big life choice, which was to get sober and not out of my own volition, but because I really had to. It was probably going to be the choice to keep me living on planet Earth. And I'm very grateful for that choice. And since 2017 through now, I have been in a deep study of what it means to come back to loving myself again and again and again. And I've been through lots. I at the beginning was through a lot of recovery groups and recovery spaces and rehabilitation spaces, and after that, found other like aligned communities, values and interest aligned communities, meditation communities, mindfulness communities, ceremonial communities. In the process, was able to reestablish my connection to something greater than myself, to spirit, if you will, to my ancestors. My lineage is from Mexico, and just feeling really deeply rooted to my ancestors, and then and hearing them with this like clarity of sobriety, really hearing their call and them saying like, here are the next steps on your path, and really listening to them in that. And trying a lot of different ways of healing and modalities of healing along then, from therapy to group therapy. I think it's called EMDR, plant medicine, silent retreats, like all the things. And while I'm saying this to you all, I also want to acknowledge the privilege that comes with having access to these kinds of resources and these kinds of spaces. And also feeling so inspired by these spaces to want to be of service and show up for my people in my community with these similar offerings, right? Like I said, I hold ceremonial space with people. I work with people around cacao and grief work and spiritual work. Um, and so trying to create spaces like we are doing here today to talk about some of these things from a very non-judgmental, open-minded, compassionate, caring place. I really value people's choices. So just part of my mission here is to offer like and show all the choices that people can have to choose for themselves how they want to move through whatever trajectory of their journey that they're on. Um, so yeah, just feeling really inspired by that. And actually, September 29th, wow, it'll be 8 years that I've been on this path and that I've been alcohol free and just feeling really blessed and really grateful for all that has come with that. Um, so yeah, feeling like it's a very vulnerable share right now. So thanks for listening and thanks for being here with me in my heart. And in these next 3 group sessions for the Sober Curious group, I'm going to have some prompts to invite us to kind of think about and explore our own relationships to these things. And along the way, I might share a little bit from my experience, what I've learned. So I'm super stoked. That's one of my favorite parts. So thanks again for listening and excited to continue to learn and grow with you all in the sessions to come. So before we say closing to this info session part of our evening, we're about to move into our Q&A. I just want to offer another grounding if you want to join me. We'll be tapping some different parts of our bodies and we'll say some of these phrases. And I got this image from the We Are Healing Together space and some of these affirmations from an organization called Root. So I'm going to start at the top of my head. We're going to say a statement and you're welcome to say it after me. Today, I give my body permission to release. And I'll go to the space between my eyebrows. Even though this time can be hard, I deserve to know peace and ease. We'll go to our temples. I am creating flow and ease within myself. We'll go to underneath our eyes. My emotions are teachers and learn from my triggers. Above our lip, these times may be challenging, and I am learning to love and accept myself. Other hand underneath our chin, I am planting seeds for myself and future generations. Our clavicles, chest, my healing is connected to the collective healing of all in this group and beyond. And go to underneath our armpits and do 1 or 2. Healing can be messy, but I am courageous to be on this healing path. I'll do one on one hand. I am courageous to be on this healing path. You can switch to the other hand when you're ready. I am courageous to be on this healing path. If you want to take a deep breath in with me, you can. Breathing in. You want to kind of shake any of that off, you can, or stretch it out. Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, if you want to stay connected, this is how you can find me in Banyan. And I'll invite this slide to be a place where we can ask questions if there are any questions or things that want to be shared in our info session space today. You're welcome to drop them in the chat or use your mic. I'll offer some pauses here in case there's someone typing. Mhm. Yeah, I see. We entered into the chat. If you like what you heard today and you want to be a part of our groups this month, we have three, like I mentioned, September 15th, 22nd, and 29th. We dropped a link there for the 15th. Um, you're welcome to sign up for one or all three. If you are interested in all three of the sessions, I do recommend that you just go in there and sign up for all three now. So it's in your email and in your calendar. Unfortunately, signing up for one doesn't sign you up for all of them. And I'm also gonna include the Eventbrite that has all three of the sessions there. Um, yeah, I'll take a few more pauses here. If there are any thoughts, questions, curiosities before we say goodbye today. Well, thank you. It's an honor to get to share it. And I'm really excited to learn more about the folks and with the folks that come to our groups. Okay. All right, I think that is it for now. If you have any questions for us, please feel free to contact us. My email is there, Madaly@madaly.love. Thank you for sharing, holding the space. I am nervous but excited. Yes. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, it makes so much sense to have this feeling of nervous and excited as we enter a new space like this. So super excited and stoked that you're here and looking forward to getting to drop in more. Okay. Well, with that, I want to offer a thank you. Tatsukamati, gracias. We really appreciate you and your time today to learn more about this space with us, and we're gonna get started so soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. With that, thank you so much. I hope you all have a beautiful evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Thanks for watching this, being here, watching the recording, and have a blessed time. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Hearts, hearts, hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will. Yay, we did it. Okay. Boop, boop, boop.